See, I went to my mentor, Jim Fortin, and I wanted to be coached. I wanted to take my life to the next level. How can I make this my best year yet? And my very first questions to him were about doing. What do I need to do? And this was a huge aha for me. He said, you have to start first with this question to yourself. Who do I need to be? We've all said it. We've all said, this is my year. This is going to be my best year ever. This is the year that I quantum leap into my next level. And yet, why is it that research says that 80% of people never achieve their goals? So only 20% of people ever achieve their goals. And if you want to be part of that 20% of people who actually achieve their goals this year, who end this year and can actually say, this was my best year yet, then stay tuned, because I'm going to tell you the 4 things that are stopping you from achieving your goals and what you can do about it. But before we get started, I want to say really quickly, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. And I want to ask a favor. If what I say in this episode resonates with you, if you find it useful, then I want to invite you to subscribe. Click that subscribe button, whatever platform it is that you're enjoying this on. And also, if you could share. I always appreciate when you share, because I know if you found it useful, then somebody else might find it useful too. And you can also always follow me on social media. My handle is @sandra.chuma on Instagram. And I share lots of tips, tricks, and things every single day in terms of how you can make this your best year yet. So with that said, let me turn right to what I promised you in the start. I said that there are 4 things that are standing in the way of you having your most extraordinary year, that are stopping you from, at the end of this year, being able to say, oh my gosh, I absolutely crushed it this year. What are those things? You see, most people, when I ask that question, immediately go to, what do I need to do to make this my most extraordinary year? But what if I was to tell you that's actually the wrong question to be asking yourself? The right question to start with is, how do I think and how do I feel? So that's the very first part of making this your most extraordinary year. So the first part is, how do I think and how do I feel? So what do I mean by that? Well, if you think about it from a universal standpoint, and if you follow or anybody who talks about the universal laws, you know that they talk about the law of attraction, that you attract what you are. Here's another law that you don't often hear people talking about, but it is the law of mentalism. It is the law that says, this is actually something that I learned from a book that I read called The Kabbalion that was recommended to me by my mentor, Jim Fortin. And the very first universal principle in Hermeticism says that everything is mental, that everything starts in your mind. And when you think about it at its most base level, that is true. Take a moment and think, well, anything that you see, anything that is a reality in this world, it all started as a thought. And so your thoughts are your most powerful tool when it comes to actually creating the life that you want. So first of all, what do you think and how do you think? And the second part of that is your feelings. You see, our subconscious mind runs most of what we do. I think estimates say that 95% of everything that you do is coming from your subconscious mind. You're making decisions at a subconscious level. And it's the reason sometimes that on a conscious level, we think, I want to do this and I want this to be my best year and I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to save money and all of the things. But then we end up not achieving those things, or we end up self-sabotaging. Why is that? Well, it all has to do with our subconscious mind. And why do I tell you about the subconscious mind? Because the subconscious mind, as I said, runs 95% of everything that you do. But here's the thing about the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind, the language that it understands, the first is images. It's very much geared to images. And if you think about it as an example, if I say to you, think of a balloon. I bet none of you are spelling out the letters of balloon. You immediately saw a picture in your mind of a balloon. And so that's the language that your subconscious mind responds to is imagery. It also responds to feeling, how you feel. This is why you hear in all of the woo-woo kind of spiritual realms, they talk about vibration, your vibes. That's what feelings are. It's your vibration. It's what are you vibrating at? And if you think about the fact that, the law of attraction says you attract to yourself, that's why so much of the law of attraction is what people talk about when it comes to manifestation. It's about attracting your feelings, your vibrations. How do you feel? So the first thing when it comes to making this your most extraordinary year is how do you think and how do you feel? The second part of making this your most extraordinary year is what do you believe? What do you believe is possible for you? And this ties back to our subconscious mind because our beliefs about what we think we can do, what we think we can't do, what we think we can have, what we can't have, they're all coming at a subconscious level in your subconscious mind. And so where do our beliefs come from? Well, our beliefs are really wired into us. Three main ways is what I've learned. Is the first way is our elders, the people that we grow up around who give us instruction about life. This could be our parents, our grandparents, our teachers, church. They're the people who tell us about what our beliefs are. You're a girl, you're a boy, you're black, you're white, you're Canadian, you're Zimbabwean, you're whatever your identity is. That's where we're first taught what to believe about who we are and our place in the world. The second place that our beliefs comes from is our environment. And so when we look around and we see where do we live? Who are the people that are around us? How do the people that we live with think and feel? That influences what we believe is possible for ourselves. So that's why, as an example, I used to live in New York. I can guarantee you that a child who lives on the Upper East Side in the Shishi Park Avenue apartments has very different beliefs about their place in the world and money and what they can have and what they can do than, say, somebody who's growing up in Harlem or somewhere else because of their environment, what they see around them. The third place that our beliefs come to us from is our entertainment, the things that we consume, the movies that we watch, the podcasts that we listen to, all of the music that we listen to, because again, is reinforcing in our subconscious mind who we are, our identity, our place in the world, what's possible for us. And so depending on what your beliefs are, do you believe you can actually make this your most extraordinary year? Do you believe that your goals are possible? Or do you doubt that it's possible for you based on what you've been told growing up, based on the people that you see around you, based on the entertainment that you consume? All of that has an impact on your belief. And here's the thing about manifestation. There's one thing that I know for sure. The formula for manifestation is pretty simple. It is ask plus believe equals receive. If you ask for something, if you set an intention for something that you want, and if you truly believe that it's possible, like truly believe, not at a conscious, yes, this is going to be my best year yet, but truly at a subconscious feeling, thinking, believing perspective, you will receive it. It might not come in the way that you think, it might not come in the time frame that you think, but it will come because you've set that intention and you believe. Because all of that, setting the intention and then believing, is going to drive who you are being. Now, that's the third part. So if we just wrap that up. So the first part of this was your thinking and your feeling. The second part was your belief. What do you believe to be true? The third part, and this is a part that I really rarely ever hear people talk about. And to be quite honest, it's something that I had never heard until I started in coaching with my mentor, Jim Fortin. See, I went to Jim and I wanted to be coached. I wanted to take my life to the next level. How can I make this my best year yet? And my very first questions to him were about doing. What do I need to do. And this was a huge aha for me. He said, you have to start first with this question to yourself. Who do I need to be? Who do I need to be? Who do you need to be in order for you to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve this year? If you were already the person who's achieved the goal, whatever that goal is, the money, the house, the car, the job, whatever it is, who would you need to be? What are your ways of being that would support you in reaching that goal? And so that actually needs to be the first question that you ask yourself when you set your intention, when you set your goals, when you say, I want this to be my best year yet. Ask yourself the question, who do I need to be? What are the ways of being that would support me achieving that goal? It's such a simple question and yet such a powerful question. You see, most people are focused on the behaviors. What do I need to do? What are the habits that I need to do? But the thing is, everything that you do comes from who you're being, from the identity that you hold that would support that. And that all comes from how you think and feel, what you believe, and then the ways of being. How are you being in the world? And some examples of ways of being is, are you disciplined? Do you do the things that you say that you're going to do? Are you in self-integrity? Do you do the things that you've promised yourself you're going to do no matter what? Are you committed? Or are you someone who's fair weather? I'll do it when it's convenient. Because being a person who'd create their most extraordinary year means you've got to be committed. You got to be committed to doing the things that might be uncomfortable, the things that might push you out of your comfort zone. And talking about that, a big part of who you need to be to make this your most extraordinary year is somebody who's courageous. Because for you to create the life that you want, you got to do things that are different, that are uncomfortable, that are unfamiliar. And the only way that you can take that action is courage. And so that's the third part is, who do I need to be? What are the ways of being that would support me making this my best year yet? The fourth most important part is taking aligned action. Now, this is where sometimes when it comes to manifestation, we want to do the nice things, right? We want to rub the crystals and burn the sage and say the mantras and affirmations. But sometimes, actually not sometimes, all of the time, there has to be action, aligned action that's associated with all of the dreams that you have. You gotta do something to have whatever it is that you want. But here's the important part is sometimes we're focusing just on the action. But like I said, before you start taking action, you have to take action. Of course, you have to take action. You have to take consistent action. You first have to do the other three things if you want to make this your most successful year. You first got to think and feel like the person who would have what you want. You've got to believe that it's absolutely possible for you. And you've got to have the characteristics of being of the person who would make this their most extraordinary year. And then from that place of being that person who has those beliefs, who thinks those thoughts and has those feelings, is vibrating in line with the goals that you have, then you take aligned action. I hope those steps are helpful to you, that to help you understand that having your most extraordinary year isn't about hustling more, harder, grinding. It's first and foremost thinking, feeling, believing, being the person who would take action to make this your most extraordinary year. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's episode. My name is Sandra Chuma. Thank you for making me a part of your day. And as always, if you found this useful, I really would appreciate if you could subscribe, if you could share it with somebody else who might appreciate it, and if you could leave a rating. Until next time, never forget, you are worthy.